All right, good evening, everybody. I love I love the hate viewers, because that just means they get more views. And here we are. Let's look at some of our published. I wonder what the unpublished. Let's take away this. I haven't responded, and then let's see, held for a view. Let's see some. These these are okay. I don't understand. I already replied to these. These should have been whatever. Let's go back to published. All right. Oh, there's some new comments here. Anyway, well, let's go back to a lot of these. I love it that all the Hebrew Israelites are commenting on my Whoopi Goldberg video here. I made two Whoopi Goldberg videos. One was a short, and one was a long, I guess. I don't know how else to say. So we got so many funny comments here. But let's look at these Hebrew Israelite comments. Take that fake A hair off, imposter. Shut it down. Whoopi is the true Hebrew, and this is the hilarious thing. Elaine Shepherd here is quoting Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. That's like, quoting the Quran and saying that you're the true Christians. Oh, I guess that's what the Mormons do. They quote the Book of Mormon and say they're the true Christians. So it's not that different. But Revelations is not in our Bible. Who goes and says that Revelation should be part of the Bible? I don't think it is Revelations. I think it's just Revelation, right? Maybe there's different ways they write it. But anyway, so apparently Whoopi is the true Hebrew. The Mad Chef Show, which is interesting because I have a friend whose nickname is the Mad Chef. But he only has one D in Mad. I don't know why there's two D's. Mothers Against Drunk Driving Chef. Anyway, everybody knows Chaim, the Mad Chef, right? So his brother's the chief rabbi of Ukraine. Anyway, these imposters are not the real Jews. What a joke. The truth is out and returning. Well, which is it? Is it out or is it returning? You are a white man. Here, Catherine Fox, shut your lying lips. You are a white man pretending to be the biblical Israelites. And again, someone else quoting Revelation 2:9, Revelation 3:9 again. And then Christian Holmes saying Yashki is your Messiah, bless you. At least I appreciate the bless you. I really do. And the truth is, I'm not offended by people I'm not offended by any of this. I find it interesting. I find it entertaining. And I also find it something that should make us reflect. How do we feel when people do these things to us? And when I say I'm not offended, but maybe there is a certain feeling. I don't know if it's offense, but maybe it's just because I've gotten to be so thick-skinned that I just laugh off things that are offensive, and I genuinely don't find very many things to be offensive. I'm more offended. I remember someone made a video on YouTube about how they wrote an article about how they didn't think The Simpsons was funny, and I was like, that's worse than offending my religion or my politics, because I'm used to everybody offending, insulting my religion or my politics, but who doesn't like The Simpsons? That who's seen it, and I guess the woke new generation, they're offended by Apu or whatever nonsense that you got there. But And maybe I did the wrong thing, because I did reply to Christian Holmes and I said, read Deuteronomy 13. Well, I mean, if everyone else is throwing Revelation at me, did this one say Revelations? At least Racomet under Racomet, I don't know. Oh, Racomet 01, Racomet 01. Or Racomet 01, Racomet 01, I'm not sure which it is. At least he or she knew that it's Revelation and not Revelations. But in any event, a lot of this stuff just looks silly. I was reading today a short article was in the forward about an organization in the 1960s, I don't remember what it was called, where a conservative rabbi was trying to get halachic conversions for a lot of Hebrew Israelites. And when you have the ones who are like, we're the real Jews type of stuff, which is, most of what we would call the Hebrew Israelites, even though there's no organization that encompasses all of the Hebrew Israelites. But in any event, when you have these types of things, they're not interested in becoming real Jews. You can become a Jew. The Bible tells us that very clearly. In the book of Esther, the end of chapter 9, verse 30 something or other. I don't know chapters and verses. I'm a rabbi, right? And the deacon at work tells me he also doesn't know chapters and verses. He said, the Catholic deacon at work, he said, when a Protestant quotes chapter and verse, that means that they're trying to hit you over the head with the Bible. I know what it says. I don't know chapter and verse. And I can quote it to you in the original Hebrew. And it says many from the peoples of the lands became Jews. Now, I know in the Jewish tradition there's different interpretations as to whether or not they were sincere converts or whether or not they just were people who were pretending to be Jews in order to avoid, the retribution of those who wanted to kill the Jews. But the simple meaning of the verse is Mesyahadim means they became Jews. It's a verb of they Judaize, I guess would be the best idiom. Again, that has a certain connotation in Christianity of a Judaizer, but it works with the Hebrew of the book of Esther. So you can become Jewish. There's nothing in the Bible that says you cannot become Jewish. In fact, throughout the Torah, it says it's one law for you and for the convert. So usually the word ger is translated as stranger, but in that context, it means a convert. So conversion to Judaism is something that is very clearly possible according to the Bible. So to question anybody's possibility of being Jewish based on race on either side is ridiculous. I can say that someone, converted in a non-halachic way, and so therefore they would not be accepted as part of our community. That's fine. But nonetheless, people that they have this kind of strong Jewish identity, for whatever reason now, whether it's someone like Marilyn Monroe who converted to Judaism with a Reform rabbi, did not have a Beit Din, did not have a mikveh. It was just like some kind of a Reform ceremony that took place in Arthur Miller's apartment. I would say halachically she's not Jewish, but she certainly identifies as Jewish and has reason to do so from her standpoint. And she identified even after she divorced Arthur Miller. She still identified very strongly as a Jew. So, or Liz Taylor also was very, very strongly, I think she probably had a conservative conversion, which is more halachic. I would say is halachic. I know Ramosha said it wasn't, but a lot of people or say that Rav Moshe didn't know what a conservative conversion consisted of. You know, but in any event, still you'd have to do a Ger L'Chumra or something. But it's this is a halakhic conversion, especially in those days when most of the conservative rabbis were Shomer Shabbos, as a lot of them are, and also at that time you only had men. So it's very hard to say that it's not a kosher Beit Din if you have a Shomer Shabbos. And nowadays you have a lot more heresy among the conservative movement, but they're halachic. They have like orthopraxy without an orthodoxy, but in a certain sense, and not real true orthopraxy either. But in the earlier days, they were more orthodox in their doctrine. They were doctrinally orthodox, while being halachically heterodox to a certain extent, particularly when it came to certain issues that some of them are not really halachic. The question of the chitza is not really a halachic issue. It's really a more of a minhag. There are halachic issues connected to the mechitza, meaning if women are not dressed properly and they come to the synagogue, so that's a problem. That is a halachic issue. But and that's it comes down to more than that as well. But the very virtue of the fact that you're allowed to daven outside of a synagogue where there's mixed seating, but the poskim, the achronim say that in a synagogue, the reason is because in general it's more of a political issue. I mean, still it's a religious issue. You shouldn't mistake what I'm saying, and we have to listen to our achronim. But nonetheless, to say that, and so we could say that those people are chutz l'machanenu. They're not part of our camp. They're not part of our machana, our camp. But nonetheless, to say they're not part of the Klal Yisrael, that's very difficult to say. Particularly, when they are insistent on keeping halacha, right? But just that they're intellectually honest about what is halachic and what is political, really, for lack of a better term. And we are right to maintain our traditions as Orthodox Jews, and we are also right to say that we would not accept their conversions within our community and require Ger L'Chumra, etc., and perhaps even with a bracha, because sof kol sof, we generally accept that if there is a very respected posek like Rav Moshe, who even if he's factually wrong, even if he received wrong information, though some of my rebbeim would say that to say this is heretical, but it's generally accepted like that. And also, when it comes to conversion, to make a bracha, we make a bracha al hatfila instead of al tfilas gerim, and so certainly women say al hatfila anyway. When they toivel zich, why shouldn't a man say al hatfila? The Sadia Gaon says the Erev Yom Kippur, a man should say the bracha al tefillah. So if someone is converting for the sake of ger, even if it's a ger l'chumra, to make a bracha, we don't do it generally when it is genuinely l'chumra, meaning that it was an Orthodox ger, or it's a shiloh that maybe they're already Jewish or whatever it is, or it's because of the opinion of some of the Rishonim that if the father wasn't Jewish, you should make a ger l'chumra, things like that. So for that, our minhag is not to make a bracha, and what I received from my shimush in ger is that if someone had a conservative gerus, you do make a bracha, but we say the bracha al hatfila anyway, That's even though there is a nusach to say al tefillas gerim. What I was taught is al tefillah. So anyway, in any event, the point that I'm trying to say here, it's a complicated issue, but so now we have this question of people who had no type of conversion, and again, you have certain people who did have a conversion. You had Casper Fournier, or Capers Fournier, who's Michelle Obama's cousin, right? And he's a rabbi of a black synagogue in Chicago, and he underwent a conservative conversion, and so therefore, I would, say that, and he was observant, and he's, sincere. He's in his right, and he's, I got into trouble for this somewhat, but there was not really trouble, because it's not like, I wonder if I got kicked off of that Facebook group, Orthodox Jews Against Racism, that Rabbi Bechhofer runs. And he also does a podcast with Rabbi Kivlevich. But anyway, they're old friends, but what was I saying? Now I've totally lost it. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I'm a member, again, this is Eschatoy Mazker Hayom. I don't know if I kept my membership up. I'm a member of the New York Board of Rabbis, right? Which is an interdenominational rabbinical board. And recently, I think it was last year, they voted as to whether or not the Caper Fournier's group, the Israelite Board of Rabbis, I believe, would be allowed to join the New York Board of Rabbis. What do we mean by that? So the New York Board of Rabbis, the way they operate is that they want you to be a member of another organization, a national organization, to join their organization. So So, you could be a member of, like, I'm a member of Igad Arabonim. I don't wave it around like Aaron Ruvain does, right? I don't put it on every video. Oh, I'm a member of the Igad Arabonim, But I'm a member of Igad Arabonim. I think I'm even a member of Morashah. I'm not sure, but I think I joined them. I used to be a member of the Young Israel Board of Rabbis, National Council of Young Israel Board of Rabbis. And these various organizations, the RCA, these are, so far I've mentioned Orthodox groups, and you have also, except Morashah is traditional, and then you have also, which one of my rebbeim is a member of Morashah, but then you have also the Rabbinical Fellowship, the International Rabbinical Fellowship, which is the open Orthodox one. I tried joining them and they denied my application. But excuse me. I'm also a member of another group, but they didn't want to have recognition by the New York Board of Rabbis. That's the Rabbinical Union of America, RUA. By the way, there's a Smicha program for anybody who's interested. with RUA and with the chaplain task force. In any event, we I don't even remember where I'm going with all this. Oh, and they have all the reform, the conservative, the rabbinical assembly, and the what's the reform, the HUR, right, whatever. And there's no cows here. I'm gonna slow down. So anyway, and all these other the reconstructionists there, and that's why a lot of the Gedolim said you shouldn't be a member of the New York Board of Rabbis, because you can't be in an organization that includes the Apikorsim anyway. But what I said was, when I joined because I wanted to be a prison chaplain, and then I wind up being a prison chaplain in another state, so I didn't need to join the Board of Rabbis. But and being a member of the Board of Rabbis didn't help me get the prison chaplain job either. But anyway, we have all that. What was the next thing? So they wanted to add this Israelite Board of Rabbis, which is Capers Funay's group. He's the chief rabbi of the Israelite Board of Rabbis, I think IBR. And I said, yes, if you have the reform, you have Rabbi Buchtal, according to our friend Rabbi Sasker, is the Rosh Kol B'nai Agola, right? And I don't know what kind of conversion she had, but I think she apparently had some kind of conversion. It wasn't just that because her father was Jewish. I don't even know, the reform, they have the patrilineal descent. I mean, and that should be in context. People don't understand why did Rabbi Sasker. I saw Rabbi Adlerstein Shlita. He said something about why Rabbi Katz said that Rabbi Buchtal is Rosh Kol B'nai Agola, and it's in the context of the story in the shul in Texas where they had the hostage situation, and the terrorist, he said, I want to speak to the chief rabbi of America in New York. So this Esrik, this Rabbi Citron, right? He said he called Rabbi Buchtal, right? So because she could get this lady out of prison, right? So anyway, I said we should let them in because we have the reform anyway and the reconstructionists. So why can't we let them in? They're frummer than the reform. They're like conservative. So in fact they have separate seating in Caper Funay's shul. They have separate seating. So some frum gerim. One is a Rav, and the Rebbetzin, the people of color, and they said, why didn't they consult with us before they made this decision? I said, well, are you a member of the New York Board of Rabbis? I mean, and this rabbi is modern Orthodox. He doesn't have any compunctions against joining the Board of Rabbis, right? So why don't you join the Board of Rabbis, and then you can say something, or talk to Rabbi Potasnik, talk to why you're offended by this, because I thought I was like being very liberal and open-minded, and apparently like it's very offensive that I said that this group can join a group with Reform and Conservative also, and you know, everything is cancel culture. It's I don't know if I'm even in that Facebook group anymore. So anyway, you know, and I joined it because Zionism is racism, and that's why I'm against racism, right? So, right, that's the UN said. Oh, we lost it. Are we still here? Are we still recording?